when the bus broke down there, even the people sitting inside there, even us who were waiting for them, we gave up. We thought like, ye log zinda nahi bachenge. But Indian Army was very quick enough to, arrange a new truck again, and they headed towards that. And for somehow they rescued them, all of them, and they arrived safely in our village. That was what was happening in the first few days. And on date 6, I can say like our church leaders, हम लोग को इकट्ठा किया गया आसपास के गांव के यूथ्स को, और हमने we were all volunteers. किस किस को इमरजेंसी मेडिकल टीम में जाना है, किस किस को वाटर सप्लाई की टीम में जाना है, किस किस को खाना बनाना है. Like we were divided into teams, and from there on, like उससे ही स्टार्ट हुआ है. आज तक हमें कोई मदद नहीं मिला है बाहर से. रिलीफ कैंप्स भी उस समय हम लोग ने अचानक से बनाना पड़ा, क्योंकि people came in thousands, not just hundreds, thousands में आए नेपाल से, और नेपाल के आसपास के गांवों की जो सब जल गए थे, and those people who were hiding in forests and jungles. जब वो लोग आए तो हम रखे भी तो कितने लोग को रखे अपने घर में. So हम what we did, schools, government, private schools, colleges, churches, सब दरवाजा खोला हम लोग ने, and education schools सब रुक गए उसमें, क्योंकि we have to make beds for people who escape. We have to have a space for them, a roof for them where they can sleep and take refuge. हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था. Everything was taken away from us. But still, we contributed. Like I said, there were volunteers who were collecting clothes from each house. They were collecting blankets from each house, rice from each house. And till today, November 3 को कितने महीने होंगे? 18 months. 18 months till today we are surviving ourselves. The men are protecting our land on the front. The women and children are helplessly staying in the relief camps, relying on the food that we provide. That is the situation. And the prefabricated homes that are built in Kapopi and other different districts. If you come and visit the state of the prefabricated structure, it's, like, बाहर से देखने में बस सुंदर है, white walls and all those makeshift, and like, but you wouldn't be able to stay there for even one night. The condition there, like the thin walls, the tiny rooms. If I have to sleep on the floor, my head will be touching the other wall and my leg will be touching the other. It's that kind of condition. And we have families who have 3 to 4 disabled people in their village, in their one family. Okay, and in that tiny house, they felt suffocated. They didn't get enough food. That's the situation even till now. What?
अगर आपकी खुद की माँ, बहन, बेटी, सहेली, सखी या कोई भी रिश्तेदार होता, तो आप क्या आज भी ये चुप्पी कायम रखते? क्या कुकीज़ और महिलाएं इस देश की बेटियां नहीं हैं? जो देश अपनी बेटियों को सम्मान, इज्जत और जिस देश में देवियों को पूजा जाता है, उस देश में क्या ये सब होना शर्मनाक नहीं है? किंतु ना कोई आवाज उठा रहा है, ना कोई सहायता के लिए कदम बढ़ा रहा है. ऐसे में इस देश ने आज अपनी कुकीज़ और महिलाएं और अपनी कुकीज़ और बेटियों को केवल अनसुना ही नहीं, केवल अनदेखा ही नहीं, मगर अप्रेमित भी छोड़ दिया है.
And a country that honors humanity at its first most. In this turmoil, Kukiju women have become some of the most vulnerable victims subjected to heinous crimes, acts of violence, including sexual assault, abduction, murder, and intimidation. After 18 months of relentless violence, ignorance, pleas, and a justice system that has consistently failed our women victims. Ignored, please. Our heritage back at home that we had at one point of time built with so much hope is now rendered landless, as well as it's turned into ashes, never to be there again. In this aspect, today I would like to highlight some aspects that have not been adequately considered in a focus in terms of injustice, Because the Constitution of India in Article 14 states an equality before law and protection. However, this has been unseen and unheard and hasn't been applicable fully in terms of the Kuki-Jo women. For example, number one, I'm going to stress on the Kuki-Jo women deprived of protection under existing laws, such as protection of women from violence acts and sexual harassment, the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013, as well as the Indian Penal Code IPC section 375 and 376, which was instilled after the Nirbhaya case. Number two, I'd like every one of us to understand the failure to address sexual violence regarding the Kuki-Jo women.
There's change in the brain, somatosensory cortex, which is this part of the brain, the parietal part of the brain, the parietal lobe of the brain. That area gets activated and thus started to create sensations and perceptions from input of the body. And this can lead to decreased sexual sensation and desire and even chronic pain, and which is found in a rape victim. So that's the kind of pain that the person who had experienced rape should endure with throughout their lives.
Time back then when the entire community, I believed in this leadership, that through his go to village, go to the hills policy, that the valley and hill divide would lessen. There was hope in this leadership. Unbeknownst to our hopes and faith in the new government that was formed, this is the place where we are standing today. The same people who had voted him into power, where are we now? Where are we now? It didn't matter if you were the Kuki-Jo. All of us, we were equally running for our lives on that day, on first week of May last year. All of us ran for our lives. The only thing we had was our clothing and the lives we had. It didn't matter whether a Kuki-Jo was, he or she was, it didn't matter if he or she was a bureaucrat, a policeman, an academician. It didn't matter if he was literate or illiterate. All of us were targeted because of our ethnic identity. And what came to mind at that point was it a sin to be born a Kuki-Jo in Manipur? Do we have right over our birth? Do we have control over our birth into the background that we are born? It fell under the leadership of this Chief Minister and Biren Singh. It felt as if it was a sin to be born a Kuki-Jo in Manipur.
I had to pay almost thousands to bring my sisters here. And then in that moment, my parents were completely contributing towards sustaining the people who had fled to Manipur relief camp. In that aspect, my society, their resilience, their power, the courage they showed in this moment is commendable, and no one can ever, and no compensation from the government will ever fill that.